Hi everyone, welcome to We Knew the Moon. My name's Tracey and I'm here with Dee.
Hi there.
Hello. Welcome to our episode today, which we have a really exciting topic which is close to our hearts. We're going to be talking about twin flames, kindred spirits, soulmates, soul calls, all those kind of soul experiences and interactions you have with other people. So I'm quite excited about this episode, Dee, because I think out of all the ones we've done, it's one that is very close to my heart, something that I've experienced. And I hope that by going through the differences of what is a twin flame, what is a soulmate, what are these soul connections, it'll help others too, or at least we can learn a little bit more about our
I'm really excited about this as well, because I feel like there are words that I use a lot, probably incorrectly. You know, we've all called people our soulmates and so forth. And yeah, so I'm really, really interested to know more about this topic. So
these words pop up so much, and things like the other half, or he's my soulmate, or, you know, they're just old sayings, but actually have some sort of explanation behind them. So I'm going to go through what the difference is of all of these different words that we hear that seem the same, but actually there's a massive difference behind them. But before I do, I just want to add a disclaimer to this episode as well. Yeah, PG rating, D. We are going to be talking a little bit about the concept of our soul and having maybe a past life. I know life after death is a really sensitive subject. I don't want to upset anyone on a religious level, or perhaps you've lost someone recently and this sensitive issue is a little bit too much to hear or think about right now. But to really understand our soul, what it is, and why we build these connections with others, we are going to be touching on this idea of perhaps we've had more than one life. And secondly, disclaimer is because I am super sensitive to this and I don't want to use this as an outlet of my diary of, oh my goodness, how emotional I am over all that's happened these past few years.
Are you going to cry?
But I could cry. So let's see how we go. This could turn into a counselling session for Tracey, but I'll try and be super honest as much as I can about my experiences with twin flames. And Dee and I may have a little bitchy gossip about our ex-boyfriends too. So, you know, so first of all, just want to say about the idea of growing up and how we all dream to meet our Prince Charming. I grew up watching a lot of Disney in the 80s and 90s. The theme of them all was that the princess would wake up, she'd meet her Prince Charming, he'd rescue her from some crazy situation. They would get married and live happily ever after. Does that sound familiar, Dee? Was Disney in your life quite a lot growing up?
And as we know, that's exactly how real life goes too.
Totally. We're all brought up with the idea that you will meet your Prince Charming or princess and live happily ever after. But the reality of this story is that you'll kiss a lot of frogs before you meet your perfect partner, and you'll have a lot of soul interactions before you meet your soulmate, the one, the other half, the boyfriend, the husband, the person you're meant to be with forever.
The second husband.
The second husband. You know, our paths aren't that clear, and that's okay, because I feel that's exactly how it's meant to be. So we know life isn't that simple. We know we have this fate, maybe this route of destiny or this aim to meet our other half. But there's skeptics out there as well, Dee, who perhaps have had bad experiences in trying to find their other half. Perhaps they weren't brought up on Disney. Perhaps they had a bad family upbringing, experienced problems with their parents. I'm fortunate that I'm not from a home where my parents did break up during my upbringing, but I'd imagine a lot of people did. So the thought and the point of view of meeting the one can be very different for everyone. Does love at first sight exist? Is soulmates, is that a thing, or is that something that we've just built up to be a thing? And even though there are all these sayings around, these are very old sayings like meeting the other half. Where did this come from? Is there a truth that we all have a predestiny of meeting this one person who's going to be our match? Do we have many? What's it like when you go on that first date? How do you know that that's the person you want to be with forever? Because some people say, I knew he was the one. Well, why did you? What happened on that first date? Did he buy you lots of Prosecco and treat you to a nice meal? Like, what was the interaction there? So I want to explore this idea of, is it myth? Is it something our ego creates? Or is there more to this soul interaction that we have as humans? when I was doing my research on this, I wanted to think about what is love. And for all of you people out there who are like, oh no, this is going to be too soppy for me. Like, this isn't for me. Just give me a second and have a little think about how would you describe love? Dee, how would you describe it?
The first thing that popped into my mind when you said, what is love? Is the 90s song.
There we go.
I mean, what comes to mind first of all is that obviously there's loads of different types of love. There's familial love, where you might not specifically like family members, but you love them intensely. There's obviously romantic love, platonic love, and loads of things that make you love someone. I don't think I'm answering the question, but like, you might love one person because of their intellect. You might love someone else because of their kindness. That's as far as I got.
Yeah, I don't think that's exactly it though. If someone said to you, describe what love is to me, I don't think you can, because it's a feeling and it's an emotion. And whether that's family love, friendship love, partnership love, that is an emotion that you feel that is very hard to describe. You can describe how you respond to love, or how that love started, or like the reaction of the other to your love. We have symbols of love like hearts on Valentine's Day, or how we express our physical love, how we show our caring love. We can explain how we react to it, but it's very hard to actually pin down that emotion that I think is a very deep soul emotion. It's so hard to explain.
And it's not even like you can say it's a joyful feeling, because sometimes there's sadness and pain attached to it. So it's just so complex.
It's a very hard thing to pinpoint. And that's what got me onto the thought of like, well, love is a soul interaction. It is a deep feeling that we have rooted in our tummy or our heart subconsciously. It's something that I feel that we can't control. You can't choose who you do and don't fall in love with. So sometimes you may have this perfect guy on a date. He's handsome. He's got the perfect job. He's got the perfect house. His personality's great. People talk about chemistry and there's no chemistry there. Like, what is that?
What does that even mean?
Exactly. But I think everyone who's listening to this will know what I mean when you say, I have no chemistry with that person. On paper, they are perfect for my life. Meanwhile, you've got the bad boy down the road on his moped, like doing bad things, and you're attracted to him. There's that saying of like, oh, I'm attracted to the bad boy. He's going to be bad for you, but you feel attracted to him and you feel like you do have the chemistry with him. Why? Why are we going towards what we think we don't need, or do we need it? It's a very complicated.
Other cultures that think that have a different view on romantic love, that if you match on paper, then you should be together and you'll develop the chemistry later.
Exactly. So, which brings me on to the idea of ego. And many of you listening to this will have grasped the concept of heart over head. I like to call it ego over soul. Some people call it conscious over subconscious. So I just wanted to have a little think as well, Dee, like a brainstorm of what is ego? I'm asking Dee some really difficult questions. And by the way, she wasn't prepped for this.
I'm going to say that your ego, with regards to this, is kind of like your expectations, your learned construct. For example, we know, in quotation marks, we learn that like a suitable partner is financially secure, has got a job, has got a house, has got no baggage, et cetera, et cetera. So my mind would be telling me, if I was single, that's what you're looking for. In reality, you find someone and they might not meet any of those criteria, and yet you still fall in love with them.
So it's the practicality of your conscious thought versus the emotions of your subconscious thought. And so this brings about the idea of, can souls recognize each other from a previous experience? And this is where twin flames, soulmates, soul calls, kindred spirits, the idea of them, which has been quite an old idea for a long time, is based around the idea that we have had previous lives. I remember having like this really interesting meeting with a lady who talked about reincarnation. She specialized in regressing into past lives. There's so many interesting stories on this, which we can talk about in another episode. But it's based around the feeling or the concept of like your soul lives on. Your ego, not so much. That's something you build around this lifetime to generate thoughts and likes and dislikes based about this life's experiences. But your soul is something that continues long after death and will be planted into another life at another point. Don't know how it's decided. And like I say, this hasn't been proven, but it hasn't been disproven. But the idea is that it's planted into another lifeline to gain experience and to grow. So to gain understanding, maybe to have challenges, maybe your soul needs to learn the art of patience. Maybe it needs to learn the art of being hurt. Maybe it needs to learn hardship. This lady actually talked about souls being reborn as rocks. So people that needed to learn, or souls that needed to learn the art of patience, would be reincarnated as a stone or something that would just sit there and be patient for years and years. To me, that's maybe a bit of a push to imagine that a rock has a soul. But I hope you're getting the idea that our soul chooses a challenge or a lifetime to learn and grow. And with that, you have the idea that we all have a beginning and an end. And we have this path down the middle with some predetermined fates. We choose little avenues down the way, and our ego, our consciousness, our brains grow these thoughts and learns. But our soul is the key thing here, is growing and learning as well.
I love the thought of our souls jumping from body to body, continuing learning through time.
Yes, yeah. Have you ever had any idea of what you were in a past life, Dee, or what you could have been, or any like hints or regressions?
It's not something I've properly explored, probably because I feel like I've got so many issues in this life to still resolve.
Oh.
But I do use it to justify in my mind when I meet someone and I feel an instant connection, or sometimes the opposite. And if I can't explain it based on their character, like if someone's rude to me off the bat, then I don't think, oh, we must have hated each other in a past life. I just think that person's a dick. But, you know, when you meet someone and you instantly feel like we have something, I'm not saying romantic, I'm not saying physical lust, anything like that. I just, you know, you have it, don't you, where you instantly pick up with someone. And I do think, oh, I wonder if we knew each other in a past life and this isn't a new encounter, a completely new encounter.
My mom had this happen to her on a beach where she lives on the Isle of Wight. Now, my mom is one of these people that does know everyone. She can go on holiday really far away and bump into people that she knows. So, you know, it's not unusual for mom to bump into people and meet someone she went to school with, which again, I think is a lovely pinpointer to that not everything's chance or luck. There's points on our map where, no, that's too much of a coincidence. I'm in Hawaii. What's the chance that I'm going to bump into my old school friends there? She was walking on the beach and she passed this lady and they both instantly stopped to say hello to each other, but not in a stranger passing by of like, oh, good morning. It was like a friend greeting another friend after they'd seen each other for a long time. And they both said hello and they both paused. And the other lady said, do I know you? It's almost like, I don't know if you've ever seen a famous person, Dee, and you think, who are they? Where do I know them from? This has happened to me.
Yes, when you're like, did I go to school with them? Oh, no, wait.
I know, they present the BBC News, yeah. It was almost like that moment, but as their minds, their egos, their consciousness was trying to drastically search it. I go to school with you. Are you off the TV? Have I met you in a shop? Are you my neighbour? They couldn't find where they knew each other from. And they both left knowing they knew each other in a very spiritual, knowing way of maybe not in this lifetime. And they walked away. And I was like, Mom, that's so lovely. Like, you've met someone from your past life. Now, my mom's not deep into all of this stuff. She's not a believer, but she's not a big believer. It's not something she practices or looks into. But that moment in time of meeting this person, and for that split second, ego not getting involved, consciousness not getting involved, the soul recognized that other person. And then it started to, you start to overthink of where and what. But it was lovely that they left back on that soul level of, shut up, brain. doesn't need to be pinpointed as to where we know each other. It doesn't matter. We know each other, and it may not be from this lifetime. And they walked so away. Cute. Isn't that nice? Yeah, never seen her again. Have a little think, everyone, if you've ever had that experience with someone or something. Some people have places that they love or they feel like they've been there before. I have a strong association with California. I love California. I hate traveling, Dee. I feel out of my comfort. I seek home.
You don't even like long car journeys.
No, I find it very hard to be away. But we went to California and I had more of a sense of being at home there than even being at home. So taking this idea that we've been here before and taking the idea that sometimes you have connections with people that you just can't explain, we're now going to go on to the concepts and the ideas of kindred spirits, soulmates, twin flames. These might seem all very similar, but they're actually really different soul connections. And I'm going to go through them now. When I go through this list, our brains will automatically be trying to label the people in our life. Oh, that person's my kindred spirit. That person must be my soulmate. This experience must be that. And that's not what I want this episode to be. I think, and coming from my mouth to say don't overthink it seems really ironic.
Saying it to me, Tracey.
The queen of overthinking and needing answers. But the beauty of this journey and our soul interactions and this idea of past lives and all of the bits that I'm going to go through, neither of it has been proven or disproven, and there will never be, unless some amazing scientist comes up with some amazing experiment, but I doubt that's in our lifetime, there will never be the definitive answer of, yes, that's what it is. Yes, there is life after death. Yes, this is my second life, blah, blah, blah. There's amazing stories about it, but you're never going to have a definitive answer. So just go with the flow. Try and connect a bit more subconsciously. Listen to your soul and what it's saying. And if this person doesn't match any of these things, maybe it's something off the list. Maybe it's to be developed into this thing. Like, there's no right or wrong way of these soul interactions. So, first of all, kindred spirit. It's got the word spirit in it, Dee, so you can already tell it's very soul-based. A kindred spirit is someone or something like a pet, plant, anything in your life that you have a connection with that has the same energy as you. So usually this is someone like a best friend. It's a friendship kind of love. They provide comfort and stability in your life. So they don't play much part in your spiritual awakening or connecting on a super deep level. So there's no kind of physical love there, but it's a best friend kind of love. Sometimes in kindred spirits, you can pick and choose the bits that you give and the bits you don't. We talked about sun signs and moon signs, didn't we, Dee? And maybe that's a good episode to listen to if you haven't, about our outer personality that we give and then our deep inner personality. A kindred spirit is someone that you connect with more on an outer personality. It's not saying that you're not being yourself. You're not giving your deep emotions to them, but you are portraying you the best that you can. There's someone that has a similar personality to you.
So I think they're getting your spirit, not your soul.
Possibly they're getting a little bit of your soul. They're definitely getting your ego. Yeah, spirit's a nice way of putting it, but they're not connecting on a super deep spiritual level. For instance, say you're having a bad day. It's very easy to look at the good sides of us, right? So we always try and portray our best sides, but let's have a look at our worst sides. When we have a bad day, we always say we take it out on those that are closest to us. Now, For me, I would snap and turn at Michael because he's my soulmate, not my kindred spirit. So he sees the good and the bad side to me. He sees my shadow side, maybe.
Yeah.
He's someone that I don't have any filters with. Whereas the kindred spirit, you're not being fake, you're being yourself, but you do add a few little filters because you're not
going to show your deeply vulnerable shadow side.
That's exactly it. Yeah, your deeply vulnerable shadow side. Yeah. You can have more than one, and you can have many in a lifetime. You can have many over your lifetimes. You don't just have one, but they're friends that you have a deep connection with. Now we're getting into the juicy stuff, Dee. So soulmates, which is more of a familiar term, the Disney princess meeting her soulmate, the one. Kind of correct, really. There's someone you connect with on a deep emotional soul level. So there's someone that you can be yourself with no matter what. Someone, maybe you go to the toilet when the door's open, or they see you with no makeup on, or, you know, like I say,
those two are not comparable.
But there's someone that you're yourself with. You don't need to put any pretense on it. This is me. But ultimately, the soulmate connection is acceptance of each other on a deeply emotional level. And so, yeah, soulmates are likely to be someone you have a long-lasting relationship with. You can have soul friends and teachers. So you can have more than one soulmate in a lifetime. So this idea of meeting the one is not maybe 100% true, because there's more than one version or one soul out there that can be your soulmate. I wrote down a really nice thing here on my notes thing, and it says, one of the key things in soul awakening and experience on this planet is love and connection. Oh. Connection with God, with the universe, and with each other. A soul's purpose is to find connection, to awaken, and to experience. Yeah, so hopefully that's given you already an idea of the difference between kindred spirits, best friend, soulmate, boyfriend, husband. But one of the next, and we're going up levels here, I hope you notice there's stages, and I hope you know what we're coming to, and Dee's face is ready to grasp notes. It's the idea of twin flames, which to those of you who have heard this word, I'm sure you've heard this word because you've had this experience, Googled what it could be, and come up with the idea of twin flame. But it's not something which is commonly used. It's not something which is commonly understood. And I don't think it's something which is very easy to explain.
No, but I think, because when I first heard about twin flames and started reading a bit about it, suddenly I was like, oh my God, I know who this person is for me.
It clicks straight away.
So if you have had an experience with your twin flame, you won't need very much explanation. You'll already know what we're talking about very quickly. So
hopefully this will ring true and help some people. So we're on to the next level. And if you imagine soul connections going up to intensity-wise, twin flame connection is the most intense connection you'll feel with another soul in your lifetime. And it comes from the story of when we were created, we were one soul that was split into two. So we were divided into two, and we have a soul out there, and there's only one twin flame. So unlike the others where you perhaps can meet many different soulmates, you only ever have one twin flame. So if you think of the amount of people on this planet, and there's only one other version of you out there, quite significant if you meet them, and it's quite powerful. Now, the twin flame, before we're out there thinking, oh, doppelgangers, mirror twins, like someone out there that looks like me. No, physically, your twin flame is not really likely to look like you. It is going to be male and female, usually. But the soul connection, that invisible thing that we keep talking about, they are going to be the mirror version of you.
It's not necessarily who you end up with, is it?
No.
And quite a lot of the times, it's not the person you should end up with. You actually shouldn't.
I put here in big capital letters, this is not the Disney story that you're thinking.
Yes, exactly. It's probably, for most of us, would be disastrous if we were in a romantic relationship with our twin flame.
Because this idea of your soul being split into two, this is your soul version of yourself, but on a mirror level. So they're going to show you maybe your shadow side, the version of you that you don't acknowledge to exist, the version of you that perhaps you don't like. And it's quite painful and intense, and it's making you look at the side of you which you don't want to see. You will love your twin flame, but equally hate them at the same time. You will trust them like you have trusted no other, but equally be fearful of them because you know they have the power to hurt you on a level that you've never experienced. In particular, rejection is one that comes to mind. They annoy you, but they have like this niggling itch that you just can't scratch. And once you've met your twin flame, they will be stuck in your head for quite a while. And I don't want to say forever, Dee, but I met mine about 2-3 years ago. And it wasn't this powerful kind of acknowledgement of, the sun shone and there was rainbows and like I felt this boom of like intense energy. It was nothing like that. It was a gradual acknowledgement and building of this person is important to me. I acknowledge that I recognize them from somewhere, and I every single day think about them. I wake up and I think about, I wonder how this person is doing today. I wonder if they're okay. I can usually sense if they're not okay. There are days when I feel hurt, I feel angry, or I feel upset for no reason. And now I've come to the conclusion that it's because it's what my twin is feeling that day. I do know that there was one day I was feeling hurt. I felt like I'd had a breakup. I felt like my heart was broken. I found out many weeks later, and I can't pinpoint it to that day, but I just in my heart know it was that something had happened with his girlfriend. You have to be careful, again, the ego doesn't build this up to be, well, I want my twin flame and I want this relationship to be this and I want this to be this way. Take it back and almost make yourself be like, no, this isn't how it is. I'm just going to try and block this out of my life, because infatuation and limerence, I think that's the word. You can become obsessed with people through your mind making you feel that way.
I was going to say, because like my experience with my twin flame is quite similar to yours. It's a friend, someone that I almost got in a romantic relationship with, but because of his ability to hurt me in a way like no one else, I decided that it shouldn't be a romantic relationship because it could literally destroy me.
So intense. Yeah.
Exactly. And then also I would lose him and I need him. When I describe it, I realize how toxic it sounds.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's the difference between a toxic relationship and your twin flame is my question to you. And or how do you stop it becoming toxic? I think that's my question.
You have to control that ego, because the twin flame connection is a soul connection where you connect on that level, and all the other stuff around it is ego creating stuff. And it's that ego, the struggle of the power between you two, which causes pain and toxicity.
Yeah.
If you and your twin are in the same place and can acknowledge that you are twins, which would be lovely, but life isn't always like that. And
yeah, because mine is not spiritual, so I can't even. If I told him, "Oh, I think you're my twin flame," he would tell me to go fuck myself.
So that is, and I'll go into this. There are stages in the twin flame journey. It's not a simple journey, and you start off in probably one lifetime knowing you're missing a connection and searching out for that connection. And I'll go through it, and then you will build up throughout your lifetimes, meeting your twin flame, understanding it, building a relationship. It only happens once in one lifetime. The twin flames do finally connect on the same spiritual level. You will experience a spiritual awakening like no other. It's like the jigsaw puzzle has almost fit together and you're both now ready to meet again. And so although you've met your twin flame, doesn't necessarily mean that in this lifetime you're both at the same level to actually join. Like this is the other version of you. It's a story of hurt. It's a story of rejection. It's a story of struggling egos.
I would love for listeners to get in touch with us about their twin flame. If they met them, if they listened to this and realized as a result of listening to this, oh, that's what it is with that person. Love to hear your stories, wouldn't you, Tracey?
Definitely. Nice to know you're not alone.
There's a reason why this one person is just driving you crazy for some reason.
Yeah, can't stop thinking about them. And sometimes you will have common symbols, threads, coincidences in your life. When I have days of doubt, which is ego, saying, are you sure you're just not turning into a crazy obsessive stalker? Are you sure you're not bored and just looking for drama in your life? Are you okay in your current relationship, or are you seeking more?
Do you just fancy them?
Do I just fancy them? Yeah. What is it when my ego starts to flap around and start to query, soul, why are you creating a relationship with this being, and what am I supposed to do with this? I draw upon this very, very coincidental thing and think, no, I'm not going crazy. This is something in my life which is a massive symbol of this is that person, which is very hard to manage because I'm very fortunate, but unfortunate. I have a soulmate. I have a partner of 10 years. Very difficult for him to understand, hey, there's a guy out there who's my twin flame.
Don't be jealous. Don't worry. He's just my twin flame. Exactly.
Yeah. It sounds really deep, and it is deep and intense. But it's...
I mean, I wouldn't respond well if someone came to me and told me about their twin flame, even though I feel like I understand it more. I'd be like, well, she can go fuck herself.
Yes.
Fucking put out your twin flame.
Very hard. But that's ego, isn't it? That's
yeah.
That's brain telling you that this is society and expectations, but on a soul level, it's a very odd experience. So hopefully, listeners, you will connect to some of that and some of it will ring true. Twin flame journey, I've noted here as well, is all about your soul's growth and development. I mentioned earlier at the start of this journey we're having today about your soul choosing a lifetime to create some sort of new skill or experience some new challenge. And there's no challenge like a twin flame challenge. So for me, this is a challenge of patience and acceptance and knowing that there's no definitive answer. But whatever your experience is, it's important to just know that sometimes things just are. And don't feel rushed to define them or name them or justify them. Just experience these emotions with others and know that your interactions are part of your journey in this lifetime. And some will stay and some will go. Just enjoy life and know that life is a journey. I'm a big believer that it's predetermined to a certain level, but we have choices and we can just try and be the best version of ourselves. Now, what worries me slightly, Dee, is that I've read as well that when you do meet your twin flame and you're both on the same level of, right, first of all, acknowledging you're both twins and being on the same spiritual level and the souls join, that will be your last life.
Ever?
So, as a human, yeah.
Do you then go back to being a rock?
Go back to being an angel, a rock, whatever it is that we do, wherever it is that we go. Slightly worries me because my twin is actually very spiritual. So part of me is like, stay away from him. You don't want this connection because this will be my last life. Is that an odd way of thinking? Maybe. But that's your soul's ultimate purpose, is to
reach that.
Live your lives on this earth, develop as a soul, gain experiences, experience life on your own, seek out your twin flame, get to know him or her, go down this journey, and I'll explain the stages now. And then when you're ready and you've collected everything and you've grown on that level, join back, and then your soul's purpose is complete. So why would you come back? It's quite scary, isn't it?
What does it look like when twin flames join? Are you talking about sex? Is sex a
No, it's a spiritual awakening on the next level. That's all I have actually, Dee. So it's so like connection. Connection with the divine. You know, people talk about their spiritual awakening, having an understanding on a different dimension, however you want to put it. I looked into the twin flame stages and I looked into, there's a big question. You've met your twin flame. What do you do with that? Mm-hmm. Well, there's not really much you can do with it other than just go with it. You can't force this connection if it's not there. I should just say that these 8 stages bothered me slightly because it is that that Hollywood story of she meets him, she yearns for him, they get together, they break up. It's very Bridget Jones. And I don't think life is that simple. I think that sometimes you meet your twin flame when you're in another relationship. Sometimes you don't know you've met your twin flame until something else has happened in your life and you acknowledge that person. It's not so black and white.
I imagine there's loads of different theories about it as well.
Yeah. Like I say, when I met mine, I didn't have any kind of like spiritual awakening. There wasn't like light haloing around us both. But he instantly reminded me of my best friend. And I associated him so much with this other person in my life that night I went to the pub with my other best friend. I was like, I've met such and such who's going to do such and such for me. And oh my goodness, he looks so much like, I need to show you. Because in my head, and this is how ego works, right? This is how brain works. This is how we try and reason with things. He reminds me of this person. So that's what it is. Yeah. I showed her a picture and she sat there and she said, what? No, he doesn't. He looks nothing like him. And I was like, really? Do you not see it? And I looked at the picture and I was like, no, he doesn't. And I thought, well, he must behave like him. 2 years down the line, I've realized that actually that association was just brain saying, what's up, soul? Why are you like feeling this way? I'm just going to label it this for now. But
you were trying to logic and understanding, weren't you?
Yeah. But that day I can remember, and I'm not an egotistical person. I don't really worry too much how I look, although I like my makeup, but I can remember exactly what I was wearing. I can remember exactly what he was wearing. I can remember exactly where I went, where I stood. I can replay very good details. If you said to me, Tracey, tell me what's in this room right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm not very mindful or observant on lots of things. But there are a few moments in time when I have very clear snapshots that I could tell you exactly the colour of the front door or what that person was wearing. Right. Okay.
Tell me.
Right. Like I said, these stages may not go in this logical order. I don't like the thought of them going in a logical order. Everyone's life's different. And also it may not all be in one lifetime. You've got to picture this happening over many lifetimes. So stage 1 is yearning for the one. And this is the stage where you spent your life pining for the one that doesn't yet exist. We talked about the strange feeling, the yearning for your other half, for the person that makes you feel complete. You don't know quite what it is that will make you feel at home or settled or complete as a person, but you're yearning for something. You're putting it out there in life that this is what I want. Some people may not even, like I say, be familiar with this phrase, but you still have that feeling of searching for something, even though you might not be quite sure what it is. So stage 2 is glimpsing at the one. So at some point you will have a brief glimpse at your twin flame. Could be a dream, could be a signal, it could be for a real life meeting. But the result is profound. You will experience emotions of maybe joy, wonder, excitement, anxiety. That's one thing I didn't mention. My twin flame had this massive power to trigger panic attacks on a level that I just don't understand. It can create cautiousness around this person. You may glimpse at this person and just know that they're powerful. You may just cross paths with them briefly. You may meet them like I did for a meeting. But you have a sense that this person will play a very important role in your life, even if you don't know them properly. Stage 3 is falling in love. So you will fall for this person very, very hard. You will fall harder than you have ever fallen for anyone. It will knock the breath out of you. It will be a deep love that you've never experienced before. It can make you disorientated, lovesick, and make you actually feel unlike yourself. You won't be able to resist the attraction, but you'll have to accept that you are deeply and madly in love with this person. We've all had that at the start of a relationship where, I hate to say it, but like that one person is the focus of everything and you drop everything in your life because you're just besotted. To me, that sounds a bit like that experience. Here we go. Stage 4, the fairy tale relationship. So you will eventually make your feelings known and enter into a relationship, and life will feel like a fairy tale. It'll be perfect in every possible way.
The fact that there's several steps after this makes me feel like it's not going to be that simple.
No, it isn't. And like I say, this feels like a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, but fairy tale relationship, full stop. That's where I would like to end this list. We all into the sunset and live happily ever after. But no, there's 4 more stages, and I imagine they're not all going to be as lovely as this, right?
Exactly. So this sounds like the nicest one, and hopefully it would end there. But life's not that simple, is it? And we are talking about soul growth, development, understanding. You can't just meet someone and be like, oh, you're perfect, and then just not develop from there on in.
Why not, Tracey?
Because you got to challenge yourself. Dig deep. So, stage 5, outer here we go. You'll like this word, Dee. Outer turmoil and inner purging.
Oh, God. That sounds more familiar.
So there's going to be trouble in paradise, which I think skeptics in us know that was going to happen anyway. And for anyone that's had a relationship, whether it be twin flame or soulmate or anything, you just know that it's never going to be perfect forever.
If I ever write my memoirs, then that's going to be the title: Outer Turmoil, Inner Purging.
Purging. Purging, what a word. So sudden differences in opinion, tastes and personalities arrive, which is interesting, isn't it? Because you have this idea if this person is your twin, so they're going to like everything the same as you. They're going to do everything the same as you. They're going to be everything the same as you. But actually, opposites attract. My twin flame, because I'm a Google stalker, we've talked about this, when Dee says, I'll calculate this. I calculated his moon sign and it is the complete opposite to my moon sign.
And I think that's key as well. The fact that they're your opposite, not your compatible necessarily, not your similar.
So stage 6 is another interesting stage, which is called the runner and the chaser. And this might sound where you are, Dee, a little bit, because as tensions mount for one partner, which can be really emotional, physical, like I say, one of you, you're complete opposites and differences are arising and you're challenging each other on a level which is important and hurtful and really, really close to the heart. It's going to involve separation. So at this point, it's likely that you'll go your separate ways. However, one person, and it tends to be the feminine side of the twin flame, will be more in touch with their needs and they will chase the other. They'll tend to be more emotionally mature, it says here. So you will always have the one that tries to turn away, run away from it. This hurts too much. I'm going to just try and shut this off and I'm turning my back. I can't face it. And then you'll have the other side who will be showing a little bit more of maturity. Like, this isn't going away. Like, needs to be dealt with. So you will have that idea of like the runner and the chaser trying to put all the effort in and the other person just running away. And interestingly, what can sometimes happen during this phase, which again, I like to say over many lifetimes, because there's a lot going on here for just one lifetime, the runner and the chaser can switch roles.
Ooh.
Because the chaser is someone who's impatient, who will want to fix it, who is emotionally mature, who's emotionally sharing, who is going to this person and happy to put their heart on the line to be rejected over and over and over again. The runner is the opposite. They're the one that's doing the rejecting. There will come a flip where the chaser will get fed up of this feeling and find the power or the strength to challenge their spirituality or their soul or whatever you want to call it, of like, no, I'm not being the one that does all the running anymore. I'm going to be strong and patient and wait. The runner will be like, where is he or she? Because they're very used to having someone put all the effort in, and they will have to learn to put the effort in because this isn't going away, and they'll have to learn to open and they will have to learn to be the chaser. So it's a switch in roles which causes challenges.
Can I just say that this reminds me so much of attachment theory? Attachment theory is basically how we interact with other people. And again, it can be relationship, friendship, work, whatever. There's a few different personality types, and that's a very common dynamic that a lot of us have in relationships, where you have one person who's normally the anxious one who chases.
Yeah.
And then the runner who gets put off by that runs away.
Yeah.
And then the minute the anxious person, the action personality type is like, no, I need to stand up for myself. I need to be more independent. I need to stop doing this. It's too toxic, blah, blah, blah. And they step back. Then the runner turns around and is like, hang on a minute, where's the attention?
Stage 70, are you ready?
Oh, I don't know if I am. It's been so much.
Been a painful journey already, huh? Surrender, word which commonly comes up in spirituality. Once you can surrender your ego and let go, then you're on to the kind of soul connection that we talked about of completing as one. So once you've got to know each other's shadow sides, you will experience a period of surrender. So you're both going to open up about insecurities and wounds and show the true side to you, which ego was putting a block on because you were fearful of being hurt, because you were fearful of being rejected, because you were fearful of being judged. All these things that ego makes us do because of experiences in life. And with a twin flame, it is so painful that you couldn't risk being judged, rejected. But to get to stage 7, you've already been through so much turmoil already. It's almost like you're like, wow, it just can't get any worse. So I'm just going to show myself as all I am. It'd be good if we could just skip to stage 7, really. So powerful lessons are learned and the ego will start to relax. And you'll learn more about the nature of yourself and the nature of the other. You will learn how your differences work. Your relationship will strengthen and deepen. It says it's common to go through stages 6, the chasing and the running, and 7, the surrendering, many times throughout your relationship.
Oh, so you can repeat stages.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when I was reading this, I was so desperate to be like, I'm on this stage and this is what comes next. But I realised that, that's not the story for everyone. This is an idea of the concept, but no, life isn't that simple because journeys are different and there's all sorts that gets in the way. So don't take this as this is set in stone and this is where you are. I can't decide which stage I'm on now. I'm thinking I might be on the runner and chaser.
Do you know what? They probably overlap as well as go back and forth.
I think it mixes and it's all sorts of a journey. But eventually you get to stage 8, which is oneness. As the problems in your relationship become easy to deal with, you enter a period of soul reunion. And it is in stage 8 that it's common for you to find a shared meaning, passion or cause that brings you a sense of fulfillment. So the more you both work through your issues, you will experience the sensation of oneness, completion, spiritual awakening, or it says here, ego death. Some say once you're at stage 8 and you hit oneness, you've completed your purpose, and that's the last soul experience you will have as a human. Don't know what comes next. It triggers a lot for me, and I think it has for you, right, Dee?
Yeah. Not all good.
Oh no, I'm sorry. We did one.
It's just like it makes you think, why would anyone ever want to meet their twin flame? All of this sounds awful, except for maybe the brief stage 4.
Yeah. It's about life purpose, right? It's about spiritual life purpose. There's a lot of self-help books out there, and psychiatry will tell you about goals and values. And, there's many things that we're driven to do. Get the perfect career, get the perfect house, have the perfect family, have the perfect job. But spiritually, when you tap into your soul, who doesn't care about any of these things, what is your soul's purpose? It's to connect. And there's no connection like a twin flame connection. So I put it like that. And although it's hard and painful, if it was easy, it'd be boring and you wouldn't learn anything.
It does kind of make our souls sound like little drama queens, doesn't it?
It does. I think my soul is a little drama queen sometimes. There's just one last thing I wanted to just add on as a side note. It can be confused with another thing called a soul call. Have you heard of a soul call?
So I have heard about them. I would love to know what the difference is.
Well, it's very hard at the start to know the difference between these because it's a very similar feeling. But it's the idea that subconsciously, on an energy level, a soul calls out to another soul to help. So it's not a person shouting from the rooftops, help me. It's not even someone verbally saying, oh, I've had the worst day today. What's your advice on this? It is an inner soul energy, vibration, call that someone puts out there, usually when they're in dire need of something, that another soul, usually someone sensitive, empaths maybe, or the person that can help them will subconsciously pick up on. So usually the person putting out the soul call doesn't know they're doing it, and they don't even know they're probably seeking out help.
So they're not calling someone specific?
No.
It's almost like a broadcast.
Yeah, it's like a soul broadcast. I'm lonely, or I've got a problem right now, or, you know, my relationships, something very significant in their life for their soul to put this call out. So have you ever felt the urge to stop and speak to a stranger who needs a chat?
Yeah, all the time.
Very hard to kind of strip down of like, well, were they looking sad? Were they sat on a park bench looking hungry? Were they aimlessly wandering around? But it is that kind of feeling of that person, and you don't know why. Maybe it is something physical that they're showing that they are hungry. But sometimes there's nothing. You're in a supermarket in a queue and you just get the urge to chat to someone. And there was a story I read about online of a lady who was in a supermarket who felt the urge to chat to this person, asked them if they're okay, and they, without even thinking about it, said, no, I'm not, and told the story, and turned out she was experienced the same thing years ago and was able to give advice. And that is a soul call. Soul calls don't last forever. Once you've fulfilled the call of whatever it is that you're meant to do, then it fades and it goes. I thought that was another interesting thing of perhaps the twin flame thing isn't quite ticking all the boxes, or perhaps you experienced it and then it stopped, in which case that's a soul call.
I feel like I understand it so much more.
Oh, do you?
What I take away from it is that your twin flame, you are just going to feel so strongly, not understand probably why, not understand what to do about it or how to go about it, but that you should try not to care so much or focus so much on that and just see what happens and just not let it affect you negatively, I suppose.
Yeah. Try your best, right? Try your best.
Same as everything in life.
Yeah. Very
Float along and try your best.
Love to know if you've experienced anything like this, and any coincidences as well, because, you know, it could be birthdays, it could be places you visited, it could be common people in your life.
Yeah. Tell us about also any kind of past life regression therapy you might have done. We love hearing those.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed that and you want more from us, why don't you head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/We Knew the Moon, and check out some bonus content.
Also, if you want to stay up to date, you can follow us on our Facebook page at we.knew.the.moon. If you could leave us a review on our Facebook page, that would mean a lot.
Our Instagram handle is the same as our Facebook, at we.knew.the.moon. We are on Twitter at We Knew the Moon 1, and we are also on Pinterest. Just search for We Knew the Moon.
Finally, if you want lots more fun, moon info, and all things spiritual, plus our lovely shop, please visit our website, wenewthemoon.co.uk.